So I made the fiber and I already added to it retention agent and formation aid. And it might need some more time for the formation aid to work well, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the sample patch and see if it matches with the back color of Shock Suspense Stories, right? The white of the back cover. So no sizing in this, just so we're gonna go like this for now. Try to be consistent with it so it's the same thickness everywhere, because we have to get the lab value for this disc, see if it matches with the back side. Let's see, move it to a different location so we can see the transparency of it. Okay, this area needs a bit more. Yeah. I think that's good. We'll leave it to dry. So we'll put another Remain on top. And then I'm going to press it, flatten it. And basically let it dry until we can evaluate the color. So this is the recipe that was 16% husks, 46% toned tan paper, and 38% honeycomb, right? And that's the color we got, which looks pretty dark, right now. But you can't compare colors when they're wet to colors that they are dry, because they lighten a little bit. So we'll see if the color matches at the end, right? We'll find out. All right, and while this is drying, I'm also going to do another color that was suggested by different lab coordinates I got on the back cover, because I ended up taking multiple other areas and took averages, and it was a little bit different. Not much different, a little bit different. So the cocktail turned to be a little bit different. So I'm going to try also this cocktail on this side. And the same thing with this cocktail, I added formation aid and retention agent. We'll see how it fares at the end. I don't have the data in front of me right now, but I can tell you what the combination is in a minute after I finish with this. So we'll leave this here, we'll leave this here, so we know what side is what. And we're going to cover this side with another Remain like this, then give it a press. Yeah, we'll wait for it to dry. All right, so I have here the original color that I made a patch of, that I showed you on camera. And the other one here I made is of the interior of the other side of the back cover, right? And I'm not gonna take it out, but the other side also has a lot of white also, which I also scanned with the Color Muse. And this is the color I got with it, right? So I made two batches, and one is slightly darker than the other. So the original batch we made here has a color that, in my opinion, is pretty close to the back cover. right? We just have to scan this now with the color muse to see if we get similar coordinates for the lab values as the back cover. And this is a bit lighter in color. This might be good actually, because once we clean the cover, it goes into wet treatment, it might lighten even a little bit more. So this might be a better match at the end. So we'll see what happens. This right now is a good match, right? This might be the later match, who knows? So we'll take the readings on these with the color muse, and I'll report back in a second. All right, so the results of the original blend that I made in the video last week was supposed to match 70, 70, 77, and 24 for lab value. And the patch scan returned 74, 3, and 23. These two are pretty close on the top. This one is a bit half as much as the original, right? But that's the color I got with the proportion recommended, right? For this, I got, it was supposed to be 72, 8, and 23, and I got 81, 3, and 21. So again, not exact match, but it's lighter in color than this. And we'll see what happens with when we actually implement the final furnish, right? We'll see what the color is going to be returned as. So on this first patch attempt, there is a perceptible color difference between the patch and the back. And the patch scan was 74, 3, and 23 for the lab values, and this was to match with the color value here that we got 77 and 24, right? So I found something called the MAC molding delta E value that compares between the two of them to see if there is any perceptible difference. Not that you can't see it, you can definitely see it, but it says here, basically, when you do the math, you get a delta E value of 5.7, which is the difference in perceptible value between the patch scan and the color of the back cover. Anything bigger than 2, according to what they tell you, is a significant color difference, right? So there is a significant color difference between this patch and the back the back cover. So clearly, I'm thinking maybe the way I'm weighing things, right, and the scale I'm using isn't exact, right, like plus give or take, and then I'm kind of like not being careful with the exact amounts. So if I have to do it again, I will have to do it exactly so I can get exact amounts, exact values. As for the other patch, which is the one that I did for the inside of the back cover, right? And this was the color we got. Again, you don't see much of a difference between the two here, but there is a difference, believe me, when you see it with your eyes, right? And this had let me see, this had a 72, 8, and 23 on the inside of the cover, and then the patch was 81, 3, and 21, and it gave me a value of 10.34. This was the delta E value for this one. 10.34 is bigger than 2, and therefore it's a significant color difference between the two also, right? So the lesson from this is that you have to measure carefully, and you have to mix them carefully, and maybe take several other measurements and do averages and see where that takes us, right? The other thing is the color muse is not, as I said, is not a great instrument for precise measurements. For example, Farnsworth is using an instrument called X-Rite, and X-Rite is much more specific in colors. It's very, very close in colors. This one is a little bit loose on colors, I think, and that could account for the difference we're seeing in the delta E values. All right, so that's my analysis for this. We will wait and we will see what we're going to do next. What we're going to do next, I think, in my opinion, is give this a wash, right? Give it some support with Tenguja tissue in some areas, right? before we can do any leaf casting on the cover. So we're going to wash the cover, get the color brightened a little bit more, and redo the lab values on the back cover. All right, guys.